Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, January 5th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the stocks, I just want to first personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click on. So if you're liking what you see, then definitely get signed up for the free class. A couple of quick clarification points. First off, I will be doing and using the 30-minute time frame. If you're a beginner, what I mean by that is each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. And then next, the market is still open for a little while. So this final candle here that you'll be watching, it will still be moving, but I like to do these when the markets are still open because sometimes we can capture some really entertaining price action. So just keep that in mind. But the overall levels and such that I talk about will still definitely be relevant as we head into Wednesday. So first one here, ticker symbol F, absolutely monster volume on the day. Now it's already had some very big volume days already, but today's volume made it look like some of these other bigger volume days were nothing at all. So moral of the story, a lot of people watching, talking about Ford today, and overall in a very bullish way because we have ourselves a nice bullish pattern here. That's all occurring within an uptrend. So when you get those uptrends and then you get bullish patterns within the uptrends, now that doesn't guarantee anything because those don't exist, but it does make it plausible to think, okay, it's looking like this one could potentially go higher. So first level to keep an eye on moving forward, going to be right up there at $24.50 as that main area of resistance. And then as far as supports are concerned, level to watch going to be right there, give or take a little bit around that trend line, which I'll change to green to represent more of the bullish dynamic. And then to make this easier to see, let's just keep this one color. So again, we have the resistance there, we have the support there, we have the momentum move right there. And if I put the golf hole down here to make this a little bit more visual, this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. And again, you take the bull pennant and you put it into an overall uptrend, which it's already been doing. And, that just makes it more and more logical and plausible to think that eventually this thing will consolidate out and then potentially get continuation in the upwards direction. So if you like to play bull pennants, then definitely get Ford on your watch list. Next one, AMC, and not a good day at all, especially if you watch yesterday's video, then you know that, there is this support level right here at 26.50, and earlier on in the day, it didn't take very much, and the price broke down below there, and then after breaking that support, it just drifted lower and lower. Now, to be fair, and to give some credit to, at least late day today, the price does have this somewhat upwards channel here, but what you got to be careful of there, and let me just get these lines out of the way, as they've served their purpose for now, but with this upwards channel, which is true, it is got an upwards channel, but you have this downwards momentum move. So this would be known as a bear flag pattern. Now, just because there's a bearish pattern does not mean that the price for sure guaranteed is going to go down. Just like if there's a bullish pattern, that doesn't mean the price is going to go up. But you got to be very careful where, yeah, again, it is bouncing. That's true. But you want to keep in mind the general context of things. So again, does that mean that this thing is going to break to the downside? It's not. But would that catch anybody off guard? Would anybody say, wow, I didn't see that coming? No, I don't think anybody would be caught off guard by that at all. But to give credit, like I said, where credit's due, the price is bouncing. So the best and quickest way to gauge the health of this current bounce is just to use that trend line right there. And as long as the price can stay above that trend line, that implies the price is putting in higher lows, and that's what you want to see, assuming that you want to see this bounce remain in full health. So use that trend line there. It'll be very important moving forward. Next one, HOTH, and I like this one just because there's a couple of well-defined levels, and as I said in past videos, when you have those well-defined levels that a lot of people are watching and wondering about, call them self-fulfilling prophecies, call them whatever you want, it can definitely produce some very dynamic movements. And what we have here is right up there at $1.55 in my mind as a main area of resistance. You can see a couple of times price got there, rejected. So again, no guarantees, but it's more than plausible to think that if the price can turn itself around, get up there, and then make a break up through it, that break could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure as it's breaking out of this little consolidation right here. And then on the flip side of things, as far as levels of support are concerned, this thing does want to pull back a bit more, have an interesting level right down there around $1.23. So keep an eye on these couple levels right here. But anyway, look at it. Big movement today, big volume. So this one's going to be setting off all people, all sorts of people's scanners on volume, and they'll be watching it. And like I said, I think the main level that people are watching is that breakout point right there. So let's see what happens with it. Next one, FAMI, and I like this just because, once again, have a very well-defined level, well-defined pattern, so it goes back to that talking point of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's also just a price range that I know a lot of people like when they're, maybe with the smaller accounts or whatever, but a penny stock here. So let's just get this pattern drawn into play. Big part of this pattern revolves around this downtrending trend line right there, which is pretty crazy. I mean, to see how well the price has respected this level, but you can see just rejected, rejected, rejected. Doesn't mean that the price can never get above it, but it does mean that a lot of people will be watching. So again, if the price can come up there and get the break through it, then that break right there would be considered a technical pattern breakout, which could cause some self-fulfilling prophecy type buying. If you do prefer to play pullbacks and want to see this thing pull back some more, then a very interesting pullback level is right down there at let's see 24 cents. So keep an eye on that area right there. But overall, nice pattern, nice well-defined levels, very big volume today, and good solid volume. From a volume analysis standpoint, while the price is pulled back, you've had much lower volume. And as anything will tell you, that's the type of volume action you want to see. Pullbacks and consolidation, the lower the volume, the better. And that's what's happened here. Next one, RELI, and a fantastic move today. Talked about this one in yesterday's video, and I talked about that purple line, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I am patting charts on the back, though. And if you don't believe me, I understand. I could be a random stranger to you. All you got to do is go back in the video archive, watch the video that I did on Monday, and you will see I talked about that purple line. And check this out. Price gap down, came to that purple line, and then just has had a fantastic day. So for any of you that watched that video and accumulated some shares down there at the 50-period moving average, well done to you. And now we have a new level to keep an eye on from the resistance side of things, and that's going to be that resistance trend line right there, which as of now measured right up around, let's call it 1035 to 1050. So that general range right now will represent the upper part of that trend line here that is formed. But at the end of the day, what matters the most is that the price keeps on putting in higher highs, which you can see it's done once again, and continues to put in these higher lows, which it continues to do. So overall, the trend continues. And again, a big congratulations to those of you that watched yesterday's video and played that, bounce off the 50 period. You got rewarded in a very big way today. Next one here, AAPL, and a disappointing day, disappointing past couple of days from a trading standpoint, because this level here has been the area of resistance at 182. And you can see, including today, price was spending quite a bit of time up around that level. And to be fair, I mean, if you're a day trader scalper, then yeah, you could have been buying at 182 and, scalping up here, and so on and so forth. But look, those people looking for the bigger move, it just didn't happen today. And it was ultimately a false breakout, like I said, because as the price stayed up here, and then today the price eventually fell back below it. Now, I don't say any of this in, Apple's going bankrupt, this is the worst thing ever. No, I mean, it just pulled back inside of this channel that had already been formed. So let me show up a little bit more context here. So you can see the channel with the red line and the green line, and it's just basically, right back in the middle of this channel. Now, had the price gone up here and then come down to the bottom of the channel and then just completely blasted downwards, all right, in that situation, that's a much different, discussion, but I mean, that hasn't happened. So yeah, from a trading standpoint, from looking at a bigger overall breakout standpoint, disappointing, but that doesn't mean that the overall chart is ruined or anything like that. So kind of back to the drawing board. And the good news is 182 is still within striking distance. So if it can get back up to there, the big question is not necessarily can the price get up above that level, but can the price stay up above it? Next one, PLTR, and a couple of key dynamics that will mean more to those of you that have watched past videos, but even if you haven't, I'm going to talk about those areas here. So the first dynamic that should mean, and just kind of, again, not patting myself on the back, but I am patting charts on the back here, the power of charts. Are they a perfect tool? Of course not, but they're definitely a worthwhile tool. But talked about that resistance line right there, and wouldn't you know it, this morning, big move up, got rejected at that resistance, and the price fell and fell and fell and fell and fell. And wouldn't you know it, look right where the price bounced off of that green line, which I've talked about before. So the point here is that as of now, the price is 100% respecting the technicals. It respected the technicals as far as the resistance. It respected the technicals as far as the support. So moving forward, it just remains a question of who is ultimately going to win out. Are the bulls going to win out by getting up to the top resistance line and getting the break there? Or the bears eventually going to win out by pushing back to that bottom area at 1780 and breaking down below. So that remains a big question moving forward. But the primary idea here is that we once again in one day have two technical points that were respected, which means that there's going to be that many more eyeballs on them, which you now know brings about that much more of a potential self-fulfilling prophecy type dynamic. So certainly keep an eye on these two areas moving forward. Next one, NLSP, and what an ugly, ugly looking chart this thing is. I mean, big move up and then has just continually been bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. But as you longer time viewers know, you know what I'm about to say, there can be opportunity in ugly. Now, these setups are not going to work if you refuse to, have risk protocols within your strategy, if you're not going to honor stop losses and so on and so forth. But if you are, then you can truly structure some very solid risk versus rewards, situations. And that's what we have here. So yeah, this thing is ugly. Yeah, this thing is looking bad. But you know what? Let's just see if it can get a little bit more ugly and pull back to this $1.35 mark. And if it can, does that mean that it'll for sure bounce from that level? Absolutely not. But that is by no means some sort of random level. And it's valid, it's plausible to think that it could find some buyers here and then get it to bounce back upwards. And like I said, you don't even need it to go up to those previous highs. But from a risk reward standpoint, even if you get a quarter of that bounce, half of that bounce up to those highs, then relative to the risk that was being put into play, I mean, it could turn out to be a very, very solid plan to put together. So like I said, if you like to kind of play these, there can be opportunity in ugly type situations, then certainly get this one on your watch list. Next one here, PSTV. I'm going to keep this one very short and to the point. There's a reason why I put this one right after the one we just talked about with NLSP. Same exact premise. This is a very, very ugly looking chart, but there's a very interesting level down here right at $1, let's call it 17, that could present a very nice potential risk versus reward situation. So if you like to play these setups, and yeah, that area right down there doesn't guarantee anything, as I repeat myself because I want to drive that home. But if you can honor risk and if you can honor stop losses and you can get just a little bit more ugly to come down to that area, then I don't think anybody would be shocked to see some sort of bounce off that level. So PSTV and $1.17-ish area, very, very interesting location. Next one, Tesla TSLA, and wanted to get this one done as it had a big old movement today. Past couple of days, fantastic volume, fantastic movement. So it's great to see Tesla behaving as it has before. But with the pullback here, the first update that needs to come into play, and this is just based on a foundational rule in charting, that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So late day, it did start to make a bounce. You have a low right there, a low right there. So clearly the price is working back upwards. But if this does continue, the first question mark is, okay, not only can it get back up to 1170, but can it push up through it? If it can, then the next overarching level of resistance you're looking at is right up there at 1200. As far as areas of support are concerned, the level that stands out to me quite a bit right here at the 1135 mark. And then not that far away from 1135, you have that purple line there, the 50-period moving average currently valid at, we'll call it 1122. So these will be the main levels to watch if this bounce does fail back to the downside. But overall, like I said, these higher lows make things interesting. So we'll see if this can indeed get it back up to 1170. But if it decides to roll back over, is going to break through that level and then maybe pull back more. Not necessarily saying to close that gap down there, but from a bearish side of things, there does seem to also be some potential opportunity here. But overall, like I said, I'm just glad to see Tesla behaving like it's done and giving great opportunity from both the long and short side. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to take your understanding of the tool of technical analysis to a better level that's going to help you build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, January 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so get signed up for it. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to put these watch lists together, then please help me out with some basic communication. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment, say hi, let me know something that you traded today. But those two things, hitting the like button, leaving a basic comment, go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy these videos. As long as I know people are enjoying, then I have no problem at all continuing to put in the time and effort to put them together. So again, if you want to learn more about technical analysis and how to use it to build consistency as a trader and why it's so powerful, certainly get signed up for the free class. And again, hit that like button, leave a simple comment. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.